Menta ka arpu atarik uno apra u menteri rangba ka jella u Conrad ke sangma ula play perda ya ke Shillong Press Club batmai halua la chumia Shillong u Conrad sangma uloong kinong Troy Press kidon benta ha ka jingwan ra ya ka jingsen shar bakhuat basuba bat kidei kita ban pencikina baki reo pat ba kidei ban yo jingtip bat kubor bapura shu uloong bakum kinong tho khubor kidei ki rishat basaw hapo ka jinsin shar pa ba ulaben rap da ka ba ai ka jinket bok kit riang ya ka Shillong Press Club halor ka thong bakilala ban pen poi bat khaddu ula ai kuble Christmas bat snem thamai basuk ya baro
Hi, Sanjeev.
I have always believed that there has to be a balancing act. There's always needs to be a balancing act. Nobody is perfect. Nobody is right in everything. And nobody will always get everything right. And therefore, there always has to be a balancing and there's a cross-checking mechanism has to be in place. And that's what democracy is all about. And hence the role of the media is something that we must realize is very, very critical in a democracy. And in order to be able to see things move in the right manner, in the balanced manner, so that there is no overall kind of too much of control and power in one center, I think it's important that the press and the media is given its importance and is always taken in a very, very positive way. But having said that, as Jaishankar ji has mentioned, that as we move along, we see that the kind of the press articles or the kind of news that comes out, in some cases, tends to then have different colors, tends to have different deviations, and tends to have different forms and different areas of interest. And I think that is where things start getting a bit mixed up. So therefore, it's not always easy. Nothing again is perfect, even in the media and the press. There'll always be problems, there'll always be situations. But I think as a press club, it's important to keep track of these things. And I think it's important that I don't know how to say this, but we are so used to saying this word, so I just say it. Training, I guess, and really upgrading and ensuring that sensitization takes place, and you bring in journalists from outside, you take our journalists outside, let them see, let them feel, let them understand, let them hear how things are happening outside and other places. Let the other people come in and see what's happening. Maybe there's a lot people can learn from our journalists out here. So I think it's important to have sensitization programs, training programs. I have always heard about the journalist code, but this is the first time I'm receiving a copy of it, so it's so nice to have it. And I just want to ask, how many of you have this actually? And how many of you have actually have read it? It's a very direct question I'm asking. And how many of you have read it? Has there been a training session held by the press club of Shillong to actually go through these different codes once in a while? So every 6 months, every 1 year, have you gone through this? Maybe big discussion and debates about, what are these codes? Is it good or not? And sensitizing the press club. And the fact that you have a press club, I think it's important that the press club should act as not just a meeting point for the journalist, but also a point where you are able to then have a basic code and training for the journalists who are coming in and say, well, now that you have completed these many days of sensitization, you are in grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. I mean, I'm not saying you have to do it, but at least unofficially within yourself, I think you should do it. I think it's important. And having said that, I'm not saying you're unprofessional. Please don't take it like that. But I think it's, in any walk of life, there is always room for improvement. No matter who you are, there's always room for learning. There's always room to get better. There's always room to understand the larger picture of things and try to work towards ensuring that you're actually contributing. And at the end of my speech, I would like to just add to what Mr. Jaishankar said, because he said a very beautiful thing. And I think some people caught it and some did not. That at the end of the day, no matter what you do, the larger goal and picture has to be kept in mind. You have to always ask yourself and ask members who are joining in. I was looking, I'm sorry, President Saab. President Saab, yeah. So I was just mentioning, I was just looking, like for example, the press club, of Shillong Press Club, should have a motto. What is your motto? What is the press club here for? You see, that should be your overarching goal that guides you and drives you to do what you are supposed to do with a larger goal. It could be the press club of Shillong, motto, the truth prevails, or I don't know, something like that. Or, our society, balanced society, something that is there. What I'm saying is for any individual, any organization, unless you have that guiding principle, unless you have that motto in front of you that this is what our overarching goal is, or ultimately what we want to do, I think you will lose track of things. It's so easy in today's world, it's social media, blah, 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 so many things happening. So it's just in a second, before you know it, you're out. But I think if you have your eye on the ball, and you know that this is what we are here for, then yes, there may be small distractions a bit here and there, but ultimately you come back to the larger picture. And that's what should drive all of you. So I'm not saying that it has to be something that I tell you to do it, but I think you all have to discuss it and try to give that larger organizational structure and a motivation and a motive and a vision for the Shillong Press Club. And I think at the end of the day, as Mr. Jaishankar has mentioned, that it is ultimately for society, ultimately for our state, ultimately for the people, for the good, for the democracy of our state, for our country. I think these are the basic factors that should guide us, that we are all here to serve our people, our country, and our state. You do it in a different manner, in a different platform. I do it in a different manner, in a different platform. If I'm losing my track, well, you will tell me and you will bring me back onto that goal. I'm not saying you will lose your track, but I'm saying you have to have a track. You have to have a vision. So I think this is very important, and I find that a lot of credibility and the trust, that is very, very important. We can get away by saying one line or two lines. As a politician, I can say one line. And I may just get the votes at that moment for that particular election day. But then people won't trust me the next time. So therefore, I think it goes similarly for journalism also. For any newspaper, for any website or any electronic media. That the credibility, the trust, the consistency, the truth, I think 4, 5 these words are so important in politics, and the same for you in press also. And therefore, we may be tempted to write a few things just because we want to get the, what do you call that? What's the technical word? TRPs. So to get the TRPs. But then, then what's the use if the trust is gone tomorrow? What's the use if nobody believes you tomorrow? Then, there's nothing left. So I think always think long term. Always keep the consistency and credibility in mind. And I think that's really the long way to grow. Maybe the tough way, maybe difficult, may take more time, but at the end you'll come out more successful is what I feel. So friends, once again, I thank all of you for inviting me out here. I wish all of